Okay, maybe that was a little over the top. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our next video started.
Hi guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's us again.
Yep.
Anyways, let's get straight to this project. Let's quit talking. Anyways, work continues on left side large window in the main salon.
Yep. So we're going to continue working on the forward part of the main salon on these left hand non-opening ports. And we got a lot of work ahead of us on those. So let's see how far we get. We're going to keep it short and sweet, and we'll give a good summary at the end of how far we made it. But anyways.
Alright guys, enjoy this week's videos update.
Yep. Alright, we'll see you in a little bit. See ya.
Right.
Well, we got the second coat of bilge coat paint on the sidewall here, and that seals everything up really nice, and it's going to be a really good foundation for the high density thin foam insulation to adhere to later. Yeah, we are struggling here. Need to get the rest of this off. So that's what we're working on. And it's taken a lot of patience to get this far. I'm not prying real hard with the screwdriver. I'm just trying to get underneath the wood that's along the seal here where the window attaches to the hull. This thing here has been rotten and leaking all down in here. So yeah, I know that the wood that's supposed to be in here is all rotted as well. So I'm going to cut a new piece of plywood. I'll epoxy coat it, and I'll slot it down in there because I might as well. I'm here, right? And it's not going to get any better by not doing it. So this is some pretty weird stuff here. It's a combination of epoxy and wood and all kinds of not fun stuff to remove, and we're using several different methods of getting it off of here. Yeah, their whole plan to fix everything on this boat was just throw a ton of seal on it, or silicone, or 5200. Why wouldn't that work, right? So that appears to be the fix. Everywhere there's a leak, just jam it full of seal, and let's hope it works. Man, I have been working on this all day. So that came off of there, and yeah, it's just a combination of epoxy. Just jam it on in there, throw it full of epoxy, and why wouldn't it work? Almost there. And then our plan is on some of these areas where it's a little thin here on the structure side, on the fiberglass, like right here. I don't know why they didn't lay it up evenly, but yeah, this epoxy was used to fill in all the low spots here where the fiberglass was low. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this all back to nice clean fiberglass, And then pretty much starting about here and going forward down here, and then ending about here, I'm going to put some heavy cloth on here with some good epoxy and try and strengthen this back up a little bit. I don't foresee any problems with it being the way it is. It's still probably close to a 1/4 inch thick, but you can see back here it's a lot thicker. I don't know why they thinned it down here. It might have something to do with this whole setup they have here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm going to cause myself more problems in the end. I don't know. So all I know is it just doesn't seem like they planned it out really well. Yeah, just all kinds of seal. No, it's not like the same type of seal all throughout. They're using different types in different spots. So that tells you they're chasing leaks for quite a while. Just maybe it fixes it for a little while, and then it happens again later. So I think what we're going to do is, once we get all this built up evenly the way it should be, when we put the new lenses in, I'm gonna bed them down with butyl tape. Yep. And then I'll epoxy the frame back on here, but this frame is going to have a nice solid layer of fiberglass on the front side, so there's going to be a good sealing surface all along here. We don't want any leaks at all. So I'm not a big fan of this current setup they have here, but yeah, I'm sure it worked for a while when it was new, but you can tell as the boat aged, they started having leaks, and nobody took the time to fix it right. They just put band-aid upon band-aid over it, and then we end up where we're at right now. So that's all right. It's still pretty thick, the epoxy. It's still pretty thick to get down to the fiberglass. And in some spots you can get right down to the fiberglass really easy. So I don't know, it is what it is. But right here you can see it's still really thick. The epoxy they put on. Yeah. Yeah, still very thick there. And I know you're saying, dude, why don't you have some safety glasses on? Well, to have this on and a pair of safety glasses, I'm fogged up and I can't see what the heck I'm doing. So I don't want to breathe this junk in, and so we just keep going. We'll get it. We will get it. Oh, don't worry. We're going to sand it still too. But I just want to knock down some of the thick stuff with the multi-tool before we hit it with the sander. Anyways, that's kind of where we're at. So I'll grab the camera here and I'll give you guys a closer look so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. So yeah, if you look right here, you can just see all the epoxy that's on there. Sorry about the lighting. I'm not real solid on the lighting situation yet, so we'll continue to get better. How's that? That looks a little bit better, huh? Now you can really see. A couple spots here I got into the fiberglass laminate, and then I'll have to fill that back in. That's okay. Fiberglass is forgiving as long as you do it right, and we'll get its forgiveness. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at and what we're looking at right now. So we'll do more later. the other thing we did was I finished touching up the white paint here, all throughout here. So this is going to be ready for a layer of insulation to be added here on here, hopefully over the weekend. And then what else? We'll add the insulation. We'll get the plywood panel fitted up on here. I don't think we're gonna have it installed, but we'll do a test fit on it, get some pictures of it, see what it looks like. I would like to have it installed, but we'll see. You know, I still have to epoxy coat the back of it, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all that done, but we'll give it a try. So anyways, that's where we're at, and we're making progress, but I got bogged down big time on this window up here, the window frame, and I still have one more to go, and I'm telling you that's going to take a good solid 3 hours to get that off of there. But yeah, not fun, but it's all right. It's all part of the fun. We're just making a huge mess, but that's all right. We'll get that. Anyways, that's where we're at. Okay, well, removing that first rotted lens frame was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again on the forward one now. Wish me luck. We're making a good mess. Goodness. Just lots of epoxy. Just packed it in there. Oh yeah. Look at that. It's packed full of epoxy. Yeah, that should work. Oh yeah. Good times. All right, so here we are at the forward window frame that was in here out. It was all epoxied in, if you remember correctly, and we got that all cut out, ground down, and it's basically going to be ready to start add some fiberglass layers to build this back up. I did do a little epoxy, fill it up there because I was using some epoxy to fill some holes in up here in the overhead. So I had a little bit extra left over, so I just filled in a few low spots and, you know, didn't want to waste it. So anyways, but yeah, I did the same thing here. Got this all ground down, and it's going to be ready to add some fiberglass. We'll do a couple clean passes on it. Add some fiberglass here just to build up these areas. A little bit around here and here, and you know, fingers crossed, it'll work out, and we'll build the frames at home, bring them up here, and see how it all works out. But also, all the wood that was in here was just rotted. So I went ahead and pulled it all out, and I have a new piece. I have a new piece of wood that I'm going to cut, and I'm going to slot it in here. Of course, I'll epoxy coat it really well. I'll slot it in there, and we'll do the same thing for here too. And then we'll build this back up and epoxy coat it really nice, and I'll put a ton of epoxy down inside there to help seal this up. And yeah, it'll be good. It'll be better than it was, that's for sure. So, and then what we did down here is we got the foam insulation added, just in preparation to add the sidewall panel. All the foam insulation does is just help provide a barrier between the outside here, the condensation buildup and all that stuff. So we're just trying to prevent, you know, the moisture back there. Not trying to, you know, save heat or anything like that. It's just to help break that condensation forming. So anyways, seems like it works, and so we're just gonna go with it. Nobody will ever see it anyways. If it doesn't work, then it isn't any worse than what was on there before. So anyways, that's where we're at. So, oh yeah, and we also had the rotten plywood that was up here. We got that removed, and I'll bring that home, use that as a template, make the new piece to go in there, epoxy coat it, and bring it back. So anyways, that's where we're at, and yeah, we got a lot done. You know, this was a real pain. Getting these window frames off here takes, it takes about three solid hours, maybe a little bit more. Same thing with this one here. Took a lot of time. Could not believe it, but yeah. And guess what? We'll have the same thing to do on the other side too. So at least we know what we're in for, and we kind of have an idea on how long this project, doing these sidewall panels, is going to take. So, and then one of the things that we're gonna do down the road is, this is going to come off, but we're not going to do this until those windows are in and sealed up and not leaking anymore. But once that's taken care of, this plywood that's on here is going to come off, and we'll make a new one out of teak. But you can just see there's, whoever did this is all gapped up underneath here, you know, it's all gapped and just gapped. So we're going to use it as a template. We're going to go ahead and we'll fill in these gaps here, and we'll make sure that what we do is going to be better than what they did. So it's a good idea, just bad follow through. We're going to make sure we have good follow through. We will not add this light back here. We're gonna do something different with the lighting. We want to have some underlights going on here, but we will have some lights here, but we're just not going to do that light. We're gonna do something a little bit nicer looking. So, you know, it was good for what they had, but we can do better on that. So, but yeah, we got a big mess going on in here. So that must mean stuff's getting done, right? It's just a huge mess. See, here's some of the wood that we've been pulling out of that slot up there. And then look at here. This is just some of the chunks. This is what their idea of putting those windows in, sealing it. Just crazy, man. Just crazy. Just chunks of all kinds of ideas that they thought were going to seal that up, and maybe it worked for a while, I don't know, but it definitely wasn't working when we bought the boat. So we're gonna yeah, see all the different layers of band-aids. Some of this stuff came out really easy, and some of it came out really difficult, but it just wasn't. Oh, here we go. This is nice, huh? This one came out really easy. You could tell it wasn't even adhered to anything, but they gave it their best effort. They gave it a good try, but we're going to do better. So what we end up finishing with, we'll get some good pictures, good documentation. It's going to take a while, but it'll turn out good. Anyways, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Well, now that we got the major part of that grinding and chipping and hammering and chiseling away of all that putty or whatever it was, I don't know if it was thick and epoxy, some kind of a Bondo or putty or whatever, but anyways, we finally got that behind us on this side, out of the way now, so that's a good thing. And we got a big mess to clean up, so that's what we're going to do next. We got to vacuum up some of this mess. I think this boat's going to be forever tainted with fiberglass dust and epoxy powder everywhere, but we'll get it cleaned up eventually. Today we just did a little cleaning. Okay, so we got the forward window frame off and sanded the area best we could, due to the fact that it's pouring down rain, and I should have taped that off on the outside before it started raining. But anyways, was able to get that sanded up pretty good. It's going to be ready to apply a couple, well, we'll do some more prep work on it when we get here next time, but we're going to add some fiberglass around the edges and beef it up a little bit. But anyways, it's a lot better looking than it was. And then here we are back here. Went ahead and sanded around this one as well and cleaned it all up, and yeah, epoxy filled a few holes that were up in the ceiling. And yeah, we're gonna be ready to paint up there next time. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna add the wood in those lower slots where it was all rotted and everything. Anyways, that's fine. And then back here, heading towards the back, where we added some insulation, just a very thin layer. So you can see we added just a very thin layer of foam insulation, and then that's in preparation for adding the next panel, hopefully when we come back next time. Problem is it's raining out, and I can't transport it in the rain because it sticks out past the tailgate, and I don't want it to get rained on. So anyways, that's where we're at with that. So it's coming along pretty good. We got still a lot to do, but man, trying to get this side done. Seems like something just keeps popping up, you know, and we find another thing, and I didn't expect these forward windows to be as complicated as they are. I really thought I would just get those outer wood frames off, make some new ones, put them back on, and we'd be going ahead, but that's not the case. So we're gonna get bogged down on this area just for a little while. It might not look like it to you guys, but getting this insulation on and getting the paint on and all that was a really big step in the right direction. That's a lot of progress right there. And then getting the frames off those non-opening port lenses was huge too, and cleaning up all that thickened epoxy or whatever that Bondo was that they had it held on there with. I mean, literally we had to chisel that off and grind it off with the multi-tool, and we went through several blades with that stuff. The multi-tool blades do a really good job, but this fiberglass and this epoxy or whatever that Bondo material is, it just chews up the blades on the multi-tool, and it takes a lot of time, effort, and it's very strenuous. But like I said, not complaining. We enjoy the work, but we made a lot of progress. That's what the point was, and we're happy to be moving on from that. Okay, so now it's time to take this flimsy piece of barely held together plywood, and we're going to use it as a template to cut out a new frame for these non-opening port lenses. And these are going to be the retainer frames for the lenses to sit inside of. And eventually we'll coat these with thickened epoxy, but first we got to see if we can even make the things. So we clamp everything together. We used the router as we've talked about before with the flush cutting roller bit on there, and we'll make an exact replica of this rotted one that's been taped together. So we'll be careful to try and make it as close to the same shape as possible. Well, after unclamping and clearing off all the sawdust and everything, comparing the two, it looks like we have an exact cutout of the original one, so let's hope that's going to be good. And we'll take that and we'll get ready to make another one off of the new one, and then we'll have 2, and eventually we'll make 4. So now we have a complete set for the left side of the boat, and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and make a set for the right side of the boat as well, because we know once we get over there, those ones are going to more than likely be rotted as well and need to be replaced. So it'll save us the trouble. We'll have a set already made. Now for the moment of truth. Do they actually fit together? Do they fit with the trim, the outer trim ring? Do they fit in with the new teak plywood panel? Does it all interface together like it's supposed to? Well, from the looks of this, it looks like it fits together pretty well. So that probably looks about as good as it did when it was new in the factory, if not better. So we want to take a look at the back side. This is where things really matter the most. This is where it all fits up against the structure of the sidewall of the cabin top and behind the plywood itself. And if these all don't fit together really well, if there's too tight of a fit or it's just not fitting together right, this is going to cause us problems later when we try to put everything together on the boat. Well, from what we can tell, it looks like everything fits together really well. We know the trim ring needs to sit out just a little bit proud of the actual new frame that we cut, about the thickness of what the new lens is going to be, and I think we're all right. I mean, we're kind of in new territory here. We didn't put this together new, but it looks like everything's going to fit together just fine. So we just need to coat everything now with penetrating epoxy on the back side of the teak plywood panels and on these frames. We need to saturate the frames really well so no moisture is going to get into those anytime soon. Well, we're starting to lose our daylight here, so we have 2 more panels we need to make, and these are the plywood panels that come off the overhead that's up on the ceiling underneath the vinyl, and these are just the retainers that actually the vinyl staples to, and these also hold the top sides of the plywood teak panels, and that's about it. So we'll make those, epoxy coat everything with penetrating epoxy, and then get them back to the boat for reassembly later on. All right, welcome back. We're done, and we got as far as we could get for this episode, and yeah, it was a lot of work. We made pretty good progress on getting these all the remnants of the old frames and everything. You know, it was a lot of work. So
Yep. So as you can see, that's a lot of chipping, grinding. We also applied more black foam insulation, made new frames and plywood.
Yep. So yeah, we got the new frames made for the non-opening ports for the lenses to sit in. So we got that done. We were able to get a little bit more varnishing done on one of the pieces of plywood teak panels, and we got more of the overhead plywood that goes up underneath the vinyl. So I felt like we made pretty good progress. How did you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
I mean, considering this is a lot of work and a lot of chipping and grinding and just, man, gritting it out and just trying to do all we can to get it done. So we'll keep sticking at it and we'll get there eventually. It's just, you know, one project at a time, and this is another one of those big projects. So we'll just keep going.
Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below.
Ding.
See you.
And we just like to say thank you to all of our new subscribers, longtime subscribers, and those of you who cheer us on in the comment section. And we just continue working away on our, some people call it a dumpster fire, but we continue working away on our project, and we don't let those type of comments slow us down or discourage us. We just keep doing what we're doing. This is a project. We wanted a project, and we're doing exactly what we want to be doing. So
Exactly.
all right, we're just going to keep on doing it every week. We'll make a little bit of progress, and we'll just keep going.
Yep.
So thank you. See ya. Now there's a nice looking shell. I'd keep that one.
What's that?
My idea. Oh, we got a boat coming. It's this guy. Nice. Dang. 5 engines on the back. That was sweet.